What's up, Dope fam? Back with another video. No camera today, guys. Sorry about that. But today's going to be an action-packed video, which has had a major stock market crash. We had a huge 6% drop from the previous close. So as you can see here, guys, we could just go to the chart. So 6%, yeah, 6%. So quite massive. I believe it was $2.8 trillion that had left the market. And the fear and greed index is actually like pretty funny. It's at 4. And the last time we got to these lows was during COVID. I think COVID was at number 3. So we don't see this quite often. This is like sort of like lifetime kind of opportunities where we usually don't see sentiment this bad, but it doesn't also necessarily mean the bottom is in, because as you can see, guys, our major support is the 4900 key level. And I'm also going to show you guys later on in the video why I think we're probably going to have a bit more pain, and it's probably not good to catch the falling knife. And I expect a bounce for the stock market will probably be at the earliest end of next week. And nonetheless, it's probably good to note that Bitcoin has actually held key lows, and it's looking like it's gaining some strength compared to the S&P 500. And I do suspect we're probably going to break out to the upside. Without further ado, I'm just going to introduce myself to the new guys. I'm Dope Oxide. I make content on YouTube, X, and CoinMarketCap. I primarily make content around Bitcoin market analysis as well as the base chain ecosystem, especially on the X page. So give those channels a follow, and let's get right into it. So for Bitcoin, we're just chopping sideways really. There's nothing really much to note, and I do expect we're just going to keep chopping sideways, liquidate the late longs and the early shorts. And I do suspect that open interest will grind down to the $21 to $22 billion range once the volatility kicks in. For liquidations, nothing much to note. We have 85k region and the 81k region building up in liquidations. So I would not be surprised during this weekend with volume dropping off. We're probably going to see some liquidations happen. For the past 24 hours, we've had $240 million liquidations, which is pretty significant. Obviously, it's not the highs like we had the past week, but it's something just to note. For fear and greed for crypto, we're hitting 30. We're still bottoming out, and I do expect we're probably going to go up to the neutral area, especially if Bitcoin just keeps chopping sideways and if not makes new highs from here. The stock market crashing a lot this week. Fear and greed is very low, and I still suspect that we're probably going to keep going lower from here. The daily bullish divergence from last video got completely annihilated and invalidated, and next major support is at the 4900 key region, but I'll show you later on in the video why I expect that we actually might see a deviation below this support, just depending how we go for the next few weeks. First tweet of the day from Decode Jar. I've never seen numbers this low, and to be honest, me neither. I joined the market post-COVID, and COVID fear and greed, I believe it was 3, so obviously not as low, but pretty damn low, and it's pretty much like a lifetime opportunity to see this kind of stuff where we see this much fear in the markets, and we're probably going to see a lot of opportunities rise up in the next few weeks or so. The next tweet is by Ask Crypto Wealth. So this is just going through the dominance of USDT. And just to give a little recap, ideally we would like to see the dominance of USDT drop. It generally means that there is more money flowing from stablecoins to the crypto space. And as you can see here, every time when the RSI trends up for the dominance chart, once it breaks down, we have a leg lower. So looking at this, it looks like it really wants to break down. And I suspect when Bitcoin's weekly RSI breaks to the upside, this is when we see some weakness and some closes below the trend line for dominance. And I would say the target is at least the 3.8% region. Reason being is it's a lower high, and it's technically actually a bearish divergence as well. And it's looking quite good for the USDT dominance for coins to go up. Next tweet is for the Bitcoin to VIX ratio chart. So what this basically is, VIX is volatility, and it's highly dependent on the stock market. As you can see from the past 10 years of price action, every time we've hit the trend line, we've had a major bounce, and it generally means a bottom is in place. Looking at this chart, it could actually suggest that the S&P 500 probably has another leg down lower, because we're actually not quite at the trend line yet, and the next major support is also pretty much where the trend line is. And under the assumption Bitcoin holds its key levels and that it does not change, we probably can expect S&P 500 to probably drop like another 5% or so, which could be the deviation we need to actually have that chart hit the trend line and then bounce from there. Next chart is from Super Bitcoin Bro. He's just going saying like the S&P monthly futures is pressing the long-term uptrend from the COVID low. I'm betting on a bounce here, but if this fails to hold, the next major support is the trend line for the entire bull run since the 2009 low, near 4,550. So just looking at this too, we actually might see that deviation happen. To be honest, I don't think we're going to go down that low for the immediate short term. Reason being is, generally when bear markets do happen, we have plenty of relief bounces. So as you can see from previous bear market, we had our first dump of 15%, and then a pump of 10%, then another dump of 20% with another pump of 17%. So as you can see here, we've only really have had one relief bounce. I suspect for that 4,500 region to actually get hit, we have to have a relief bounce first and then make the low. Reason being is, every time we've made a new low and a bear market has been confirmed, we have plenty of relief bounces. So as you can see from the previous bear market, we've had a drawdown with a bounce in place. So pretty much from the last bear market, we've had at least 3 relief bounces. So I do expect at least one more relief bounce during this mini bear market for the S&P 500. And I really don't see us just slicing through straight down to the 45 region, especially because we already had many capitulation days. And I do suspect buyers to come in at the 4,900 region, and then at the very least a relief bounce. And then once we get to that 5,100 level at the end of this month, we can see what happens from there. Next tweet is by Ask Crypto Wealth again. He's just showing the relative outperformance of Bitcoin to S&P 500 as of recent, and it's looking quite good. As you can see from last year, when the S&P 500 dumped, Bitcoin actually gained strength and went to the upside. So when it comes to that, it's looking quite good because we had a massive capitulation day for stocks. It wasn't even a capitulation day either. It's more of a capitulation week, and Bitcoin didn't really budge compared to it. So under the assumption we see that bounce for the stock markets in the next week or two, we can definitely see a massive repricing of Bitcoin in the next month. And I would not be surprised we see that average seasonality outcome of Bitcoin of having a 35% gain. Obviously, that is not my base case. My base case is having quite a bit of a green month, where we'll probably close the month at the 90 to 95k region. But I'm more than happy to see a all-time high Bitcoin at the end of this month, but that isn't my base case. Next tweet by Christian Chifo. He's just going through pretty much the same trend line I've been looking at. So ideally we hold equal lows and we just end up squeezing out. His deadline is 15th of April. To be honest, it really just depends when we touch the trend line. So going back to my Bitcoin chart, our deadline, I would say from now, is in about 17 days or so. And when it comes to that, I would think that within 2 weeks, we'll probably see the result of the true direction. So that's something to look for. Before continuing on to the video, I'm just going to play a video that sponsors the channel. If you guys are looking for the fastest trading bot on Base Chain, EVM chains, as well as Solana support soon, click on the link in the description below. I'll be giving away $1,000 per month to those users that trade and fund their wallets on the Sigma trading bot. It also supports the channel, so it'll be really appreciated if you guys have a look at what the product is, because personally I've been using it because it replaces my DEX needs, and I've actually been using it since March 2024. And the main reasons why I've been using it is, first of all, it's got full mobile and desktop support, so it's on Telegram, it's a bot on Telegram, and because it's on Telegram, it's so much more convenient to make my trades when I'm out and about, as well as multiple features I've been using to make 10 to 100x multiples on new coin deployments. So one of the main features is the auto sniping tool. So what this does is, since Sigma Trading Bot is the fastest bot on Base as well as other EVM chains, you're able to snipe new token deployments and be one of the first buyers to new token launches. I've also been using the copy trading tool, which allows me to copy trade profitable wallets and pretty much just copy exactly what they've been doing. But why you guys should be trusting it? Personally, I've been using it since 2024, like March of 2024, and it's got over $3 billion in total volume, with integrations and partnerships with other top protocols like Virtuals, which is the #1 AI protocol on Base Chain. And since it's been around for so long and it's got so much volume, it's got a pretty good track record. It's never been hacked. and I've been using it on and off since the deployment, and I've been quite happy with the product. It's developed and evolved a lot over time, and the partnership, in my opinion, was sort of a no-brainer because I personally use it for my own trading needs. And with me partnering with them, I'm actually able to give out $250 to 5 winners every month. So it's sort of a no-brainer to use my link in the description and just to give it a go and give it a try, because I've been using it. I've been quite happy with the tool, and they're actually going to be releasing a new web app that sort of supplements the Telegram app. So obviously, depending on your preference, if you like a web app or Telegram app, you can give it a go when that releases. And thank you for supporting the channel. We'll go to the next segment in the video. All right, cool. Thank you for watching that sponsorship. When it comes to the sponsorship, to be honest, I actually genuinely use the product, and when they confronted me, I was actually really agreeable on it, because I actually been using their product for the past year or so, and I've had zero faults with it. They're the fastest trading bot on Base Chain. They have copy trading capabilities, as well as being the fastest trading bot on Base, EVM chains, and soon to be on Solana. So it's sort of, the partnership was sort of a no-brainer for me, because I just generally use the product and it's sort of in my trading tool suite. And I definitely recommend you guys to click on the link in the description below and just to give it a go before the next leg up begins. Next tweet is by Exampump. I guess for context for this, Bitfinex whales are buying Bitcoin at 82k. The reason why that is so significant is pretty much Bitfinex whales have quite a reputation of buying the lows and selling tops. So it's quite good to see that the Bitfinex whales from the central exchange is actually buying this dip. So it adds more confluence that the Bitcoin bottom is probably in, and we could expect at least a relief bounce from here. Next tweet is by Kush. So this one pretty much goes back to my, it's quite similar to the Bitcoin to VIX chart, but this is directly comparing Bitcoin to the S&P 500, where as you can see here, the Bitcoin chart to S&P 500 is actually breaking out a bull flag, which suggests a lot more strength is happening with the Bitcoin chart. And I can't draw it up on this image, but the target for Bitcoin on Bitcoin on this chart is a 50% gain from here. So you measure it from the flagpole and then put it on top of the exit of the exits. So it puts us around the 4.5 billion region, which is a 50% gain. So just basing off that, 50% gain would put us at around 126k, but that's also under the assumption S&P 500 doesn't have a relief bounce from here. So if the stock market bounces, let's say another 5% from here, that also adds on top of the Bitcoin price. So at the very minimum, it would be a 50% bounce. So which is quite good in my opinion, because that would definitely mean altcoins would also rally into that bounce. Our next tweet is pretty much the same chart, just on the lower time frames. And as you can see quite clearly that we're actually breaking out. We've been making higher lows, and now we've just made our first higher high. And the trend is looking like it's reversing, and the bulls are taking control for the crypto market. Next tweet by Decojar, just going through the global financial crisis, COVID, and tariffs. The only 3 times in the last 20 years the weekly RSI has fallen below 30. So this just suggests to me a bottom is getting put in place, and if the bottom isn't already in, it's very close, probably within the next 2 weeks. And as you can see, every time it's gone down below the 30 RSI, there isn't really many more lows to happen. I think this was during GFC, so we had another low happen after in price, but as you can see, it was actually a weekly bullish divergence. And then the COVID crash, we just had a major flush, and then a massive bounce from here, especially when the money printers turn on. Just looking at this chart alone, it's looking like this tariff crisis is much more similar price action to COVID, but I don't think we're going to pump as hard out of this. Reason being is, I don't think quantitative easing will happen as quick, and the money printers will definitely won't turn on in the next 3 months. I'm expecting relief bounces to be weaker than COVID, but let's see how it goes. The charts don't lie, and it's just something to note. An interesting chart you guys would definitely like from CoinsKid is an altcoin seasons chart. So as you can see here, there's a massive bearish divergence on the Bitcoin dominance, and this just suggests that there's a lot more weakness happening with the Bitcoin dominance, and I expect this to keep playing out. Once there's more certainty in the markets, we see a bounce, at least a relief bounce in stock markets, and we see that breakout on the weekly RSI, flipping trends into the bullish region. Our next chart from Ask Crypto Wealth. So this is another one of the Bitcoin dominance. So as you can see here, we're actually hitting major resistance on the dominance. We're hitting 63.21%. That is a major resistance right now. Ideally, we don't break above, because if we do, we're definitely going to fill that wick that we made on back in 3rd of February. So let's see how it goes. I'll keep an eye on this closely. But I think base case right now is, look, like we're making a weekly bearish divergence and a weekly daily bearish divergence. So nonetheless, there is weakness happening in the Bitcoin dominance chart. It's just, it might take a bit longer than we'd hope for it to break down. Just going back to my reasoning on bullish catalysts that we may see in the foreseeable future. And to be honest, we're already seeing it. It's going to take a while for the markets for the dust to settle down for the markets, and then the markets start pricing in these bullish catalysts. So we're already seeing that countries are negotiating, and as you can see here, Vietnam's general secretary says they want to cut tariffs down to 0 if they're able to make an agreement with the US, which is obviously bullish. We want to see more Asia countries, more European countries negotiating with the US and pretty much deprecating their tariffs. And as you can see, Nike stock actually surged because of this. It's pretty obvious because Nike has over 500,000 employees in Vietnam, and they export a lot of goods and products from Vietnam. So that's just something to note, where we're already seeing that countries are negotiating, and I do expect more significant countries to start negotiating and deprecating tariffs. And then once this certainty kicks in and that dust settles, I think that may be just the catalyst we need to see that relief bounce, and then we can analyze the charts and see what happens with this trend line. With this certainty when it comes to tariffs and the bonds market crashing, we're actually seeing an uptick in the interest rate cut probabilities. So currently we're sitting at 33.3%, and I believe, 3rd of April, we're only sitting at 21%. So as you can see, by the month, our probabilities are increasing, and I do expect the probabilities to increase until May, and we may actually just see that interest rate cut happen. And once we get closer to that, I would not be surprised the markets start pricing in that. Once we see the dust settle and markets start pricing in potential bullish catalysts in the future. But that's all to the video, guys. Like and subscribe. If you haven't, guys, already, follow my channels on X and CoinMarketCap. And that's all to the video, guys. Peace.